Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is CMG Talk. This is Catherine Gallagher. Welcome, and thanks for joining me today, wherever you're joining me from and whatever time it is in the day. I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today is Friday. Friday is always the day that people go, isn't it great that it's Friday? Well, I guess depending on whether it is the day that signals to you, it's a relaxation day. It's the end of a work day. Unless that's your Monday, or it might be your Tuesday, or your Wednesday, or your Thursday, or even it might be a Saturday or Sunday. You get where I'm going with this. I've been doing some trainings, and as I do trainings, I often then reflect, I pause, I reword, I rewrite sometimes. I like to improvise, right? I like to make my trainings interactive. I definitely do. And often it's a bit of a surprise when people come to my training courses. The camera goes off and I go, oh, put the cameras back on again. Let's have the mics available. I like to make it as interactive as possible. Engagement. When we switch our minds on, when we interact, when we're proactive, we absorb, we learn, and we're in tune. I like to ignite. I like to convey the excitement and the passion I feel about our mental health. Your mental health, my mental health, the world, right? We all as individuals have a mental health as well as a spiritual and an emotional and a physical health. It's important we look after our overall health. However we want to phrase it. Sometimes people say, I have physical, I have a mental, I have an emotional, I have a spiritual. We like to determine, we like to name it and call our health in different ways. When I talk about the fundamental needs that we have as human beings, I came from a traditional humanistic background in the psychological field. I trained, and I've mentioned this before, if you've been listening to my episodes, I talk about Carol Rogers. And when we talk about the needs that we're motivated for, our basic fundamental needs, if you look at the way we're motivated to have our needs met, Abraham Maslow is 1943, he created a model, it's called the Pyramid of Needs, and we look at the psychological needs, and we have the psychological needs, which are the bottom level of the needs that we are driven to have met, and they're the basic fundamental needs that we crave. So they're like the basic, water, shelter, food. Right? Here I'm going with this. The fundamental needs that we really need to have met to be able to survive. They're survival needs, aren't they? And we need to have those needs met to be able to survive. Once we progress up, we have the social needs. Then we motivate, we're driven to progress further along that pyramid. It's like, if you imagine the way a pyramid looks, there's the next level up. Then we're progressing more into a level where it's deeper. So we want to have more satisfaction. We want to have not just a basic shelter, we want to have a shelter of a home, and not just to have food and water to survive. We want to feel more comfortable where we are. We want to have good food and water, and we want to maybe have a house that provides that, not just basic shelter. And we may be looking at providing that maybe through an employment. And when we look at connections, we're looking at having different types of connections. Our intimacy is at a deeper level. Then we progress to the social connections, where we really are investing then in connecting at a deeper level. So we're seeking for sure employment. We're looking at connecting more within our relationships in the community. So we might then foster relationships, intimacy, maybe actually seek a romantic relationship. And we're looking to foster a sense of belonging in a deeper connection, not just within a family unit, but we're fostering then at the next level to look at having social connections. So you might join a club, community, a religious group. You might be more committed to engage in these groups. You might already have been in those groups, but you might not necessarily have interacted with them at the same level. But now you are. You're more engaged, more committed, and you're more involved. Intimacy is more present. You have a sense of deeper need to connect, to engage. There's respect, and you want to have a deeper sense of involvement. It's then progressing into a level where you feel you are then reaching levels where you are being challenged, you're getting validation, you feel that you are getting a reward system here. You're being noticed, appreciated, you are feeling that you are accomplishing in your life as you're moving up this pyramid. Now, the top level of the pyramid is where you're feeling that you are self-actualizing. Now, we talk about self-actualization, we're talking at that point, you really are striving, thriving to become the best version of yourself. So you've met your fundamental basic needs. You've really invested in the anchors in your life. So you've really, invested in your relationships in whatever form they are. And you've really, worked at growing, learning and achieving, whether it's a career, whether it's to do with family, whether it's to do with relationships. You're achieving fundamental things in your life that you feel are really becoming an identity of how you see yourself. And as you're moving up this pyramid, you're starting to see purpose, meaning, fulfillment, contentment. Self-actualization is where you're reaching points in your life, potential, where you're beginning to see that you can see purpose, meaning, becoming into yourself, becoming into your own. And often that comes with, sometimes people say age, maturity. Sometimes people say it comes from learning and growing and making mistakes and learning from those mistakes and not repeating old or bad patterns of behaviour. If you think about the journey that we make in life, the thriving through life, we might strive, we might make mistakes, we might fall down. Where are you in your life through this pyramid? Some people will say that they're just getting by. They might not be at the basic needs of shelter, food and water. There are some in society we can for sure say that they're surviving, literally just surviving. Sometimes that happens, doesn't it, where people lose everything and they're just trying to have the basic food, water, shelter. And then it might be that interventions happen Other societies step in. It might be that there's a surge of compassion and empathy, and people then are helping to provide, more sustainable food, better produce, helping people to provide and maintain and develop circumstances around so that they can provide and rebuild. And it's not until you can start establishing again, or it's not until you can start seeing the connections you're making, rebuilding or building strong relationships, strong foundations with relationships, investing in people, investing in the people around you. Until you're investing in having purpose and drive and motivation, knowing what gives you a sense of well-being. Sometimes people will say to me, I remember talking to someone and they said, I can say this. And they said that they remember as a child, as a baby, there would have been times right from when they were born, they would say, okay, I can see when I was born that I wasn't born into a wealthy background. So right at that bottom of the pyramid, it would very much be survival, and we would be fending. My parents would be fending for me, and it would be basic survival needs. It would be water, food, shelter. The intimacy would be very much about clothing, right? Basic clothing, and maybe we would be getting protection in some way, but it'd be very fundamentally basic shelter. But as we left that environment, we were provided with better housing. We were provided with means to be able to provide more nutritious food. We had water. We were able to have more of a connection together as a family because we had better safety. We felt safer. So we're moving up that pyramid. Because we had safety, as time progressed, we were able then to start focusing on, my parents started looking at the social economical. So my father went out to work, my mother nurtured and looked after us, and that was the choice they made. My mother then, as we got older and we were in education, went and got a part-time job. But we felt, although we never needed for anything, we never had a lot, but we had everything we needed. We never knew we missed out. And I was going, yeah, I can understand that, because we had each other. And when we were looking to play, to have fun, to enjoy, we did that with each other. We had so much time to enjoy, to have fun. We did that as a family. It brought us closer. Our connections were stronger. And to this day, that has really stood us well as a family. We're very strong, we're very connected. We know each other very well. Then as we got older, the roles started to reverse, and we were then more caretakers for our parents, our uncles and our aunties. We then went out to further education. And our sense of community, some of us became more involved in social groups. I joined a club. I also was involved in my prayer group. I know that there was cousins that were involved in other activities. We were more social aware. We were more social minded. We had more connections and involvement, and we went into then employment and started earning. Friendships grew, relationships grew stronger, and then some of us get married, some of us have children. There's a few of us haven't. But we're focused on thriving more, setting life goals, beginning to understand that our purpose, some of us have struggled, some of us have had challenges, we've felt we've had setbacks, but have they really, is it not just been part of life's journey? I said, explain that to me. And they said, well, there's been challenges in relationships. We've had significant loss along the way. We've had death of parents, death of uncles and aunties. We had a sudden death by suicide in the family. And that was unexpected. As children, we lost like pets, which were really our first experiences of loss. We had redundancy. We had different types of loss and change. Sometimes we had huge disappointments. Relationships didn't work out. And that in itself was cultural, societal. There was different types. We faced challenges. We faced unconscious biases from people, microaggressions from people. These things that now we know more of, we speak more of, they're spoken more of, people are more mindful of, but they still occur. We're told we need to challenge openly, but do we really? Can we really? Should we really? I go to trainings in education in the workplace about these things. And Catherine, you train on them? And I said, yes, I do. I do. I do global trainings on these very things. The one thing that gives me joy is seeing my own children growing up, they said. I see the hope, the excitement, the expectation in their eyes. I want to be the best parent. I remind myself of how I've said I don't want to make the same mistakes my parents made, and then I laugh. And I said, what's that about? They said, because my parents were really good parents. They just weren't perfect. And I realised neither am I. I said, I know. We often realise then, don't we? As we're younger, we think our parents are terrible, and then we realise that they weren't that bad after all. They did their best with what they had. And given what they experienced, I don't know how they came through it. I said, well, it sounds as if they had really, really, really dreadful challenges. They said, yes. I don't know how they came through what they came through. I don't know if I could. I said, well, it's amazing what the Spirit can actually pull us through on. It's amazing what we can have, what we can do when we dig deep. Yeah, but my parents were pretty special people. And they fought. And I don't mean physically, I mean inside. They fought really hard. They put up with a lot of abuse, emotional, sometimes physical abuse, to be able to provide for us and give us the best start in life. Now one of my kids is getting married. It's the first of the kids getting married. And it's such a celebration, it's such a joy. They're marrying out with. I said, out with? And they went, yeah. I said, oh, they're marrying out with your culture, out with your religion? And they went, yes, to both. I said, and how are you feeling about that? And they went, Oh, you know what? I'm so excited that they've picked the right person for them. I know that this is the right person for them. So how could I not be anything other than absolutely joyful? I'm over the moon. There's an absolute mutual respect, absolute joy, love for the differences we have. Their family, our family, totally embrace and love each other. We make mistakes sometimes about what we should and what we shouldn't do. I mean, they just laugh. We're not laughing at each other, we're laughing with each other. Sometimes we'll do something, then we'll look at each other and go, are we supposed to say that? Are we supposed to do that? Because they're completely different religions, different cultures. And sometimes we're a bit like, oh, I'm not really sure what to do. And we just check it out and then we go, all right, okay, that's what we're supposed to do. I didn't know you did that. No, I didn't know you did that. All right, and it's kind of blending now. We're blending together as a family and we're really making it work. It's just so cool. And it's because of the kids. They just came in one day and said, we're getting married. And we were like, yeah, that's amazing. And they went, yeah, we're just really excited. We're getting married and we're doing it this way. And we're going to, respect each other's cultures and beliefs. And we're going to do this together. And we've talked, to, everyone now. And we're getting everybody together and we're making sure that everybody's included. We want everybody to feel they belong. There's going to be a place for everyone. They're recognising that sense of belonging. How to honour the heritage. How to honour the story, the journeys that each of the generations have had and made. And they're so excited. And looking at that as a model and example of how open and inclusive, accepting. There's so much compassion and empathy there. And it's just how we do it. This is how it is. This is how we include. This is how we make everything work here around us being together. What they did say was, we know it's not going to be easy, as any relationships, when you get together and you make a commitment and you get married, we're going to fight, we're going to have problems, and we expect our family to have our back. Because when you turn up and show up at our marriage, when we exchange vows, you're there to support us. You're saying that you'll be there for us when we're at our worst. And I said, wow, they actually said that to you? And they said, yes. They said, we know that we're going to make mistakes. We know that we're going to want to leave. We're going to be like, that's it. What am I doing this for? I've made a big mistake. And they've said, and we expect you to say, are you kidding me? You think this is bad? You've made vows. You promised each other. Right, let's talk it out. What's going on? And that help us to see how to make it through, how to work through it, to fight fairly, to respect each other. I was like, okay. I said, what went through your mind when they were saying these things? And they said, well, how could you not be proud of your kids when they're saying that to you? I forget sometimes they're like 24, 25. I said, right. They said, yeah, but when I think about it, at that age, my parents were already fighting to get us here through starvation. And it's like they've got this in them, they've got this wisdom in them. I never really thought they had. I always thought this generation, they didn't really have that. And now I see the wisdom within them. And it's almost like they've sat and listened to their grandparents, and they've listened to the stories, and they've listened to the struggles and challenges. And they've absorbed a lot of this that we never really thought they'd actually heard or listened or taken in. And they've said, if they can go through that, we can come through anything, really. We really have nothing to complain about, because our parents really gave us a very comfortable and very easy life. I said, so do you say that to them? And they said, yeah, but we know you're going to have tough times. But they understand that relationships and commitment to each other and investing in each other. I said, so that's where they are in that pyramid. Where are you? They went, good question. I just feel as if I'm on this journey. I'm wondering now, as my kids are getting to that point in life where they're beginning to, they're leaving the nest, they're making their own way in life, and it's that kind of empty nest, isn't it? And I know they'll always come back. I know they're never really going to go that far. Even if they go away, move to a different country, they're always going to be around and visit us. But I realise now it's really about me investing in me. I said, right, okay, so you remember that top layer of actualising, becoming the best version of you, reaching your full potential. They were like, yeah, I was thinking about that. What does that look like, do you think? What does that look like for you? They said, yeah. I'm always so busy. I'm always rushing through life. I never really stop and process through the day. I never really stop and process. And I know that what I really benefit from is having time to reflect, time to give gratitude, time to be mindfully present and really enjoy the moment, being present in the moment. I said, right, okay. I said, so have you thought about what you'd benefit from doing? And they said, yeah, I think after we spoke the last time, I think I've got a plan. And I said, okay, are you ready to share that? And they said, not right now, but I'm going to come back and tell you. I went, oh, okay. I said, well, let me know. And a few weeks later, I got a call. And they said, you can share this. I said, you put things out there, and you've always said to me, you've got to be open to receive, believe to receive. And I said, yes, And they said, well, I was always talking about I need to be open to new opportunities, and, I need to be prepared to challenge and say yes to opportunities. And I said, And they said, well, I've just had this opportunity, it's presented, and, I thought at first it was going to mean just another busy time for me. But when I talked about, my next steps were not to be on the go, rushing and travelling and moving all over the place, they had said, well, it's up to you how you steer this now. We know we want you. We know that we see you as the best person for this. So what we'd quite like is for you to do this, but whether you take someone else on to do the travelling and you are the mentor, the facilitator, you make it happen. So whatever you need, whether it's one or two people, whatever you need, we just want you to oversee it, because we know it's in your hands and it's capable. You'll make it happen. And I said, oh, wow. I said, that's a real gift, really. And they went, yeah, it was. And now it's on its way. I said, amazing. That's fantastic. And they said, it is brilliant. I've got the right people on board. They're doing, what I think at first they were a bit overwhelmed, but I think now they've really kind of got an understanding of what's expected of them. And for me, it gives me the opportunity to be able to be in the one place, but I can also go out if I need to, just to check in. But it's allowing me to focus on what I really need to focus on. believe to receive to achieve. Life has a way of coming back tenfold. I said, it does. I said, yes. I never thought that I'd ever be in this place. I feel that I'm at this point now in my life where it's about giving back to me, to my own. And I feel I've invested in so many other people that I haven't really been able to invest back on me. And I feel this is my time. This opportunity has presented itself and people are believing in me. They're seeing that I've given so much. I've done a lot. I've made a lot of sacrifices. And they're now saying, this is about you now. This is for you. We believe in you. We know that you're capable of it. And we can see that this would be something that you would thrive on. And they said, and now I am. Believe to receive to achieve. I feel blessed. I'm giving gratitudes. I'm reflecting. I'm taking time out. I'm being able to do things to look after my health, my well-being, being able to focus on my connections. And I'm doing something that I never thought I would be able to do. And I said, am I allowed to ask? And they said yes. And then they told me that they were doing something they never thought they'd ever be able to do. And it was their biggest accomplishment. What would your biggest dream, biggest accomplishment be if you were at a point in that pyramid and you were reaching that point where you were really actualizing into the best version of you? Can you imagine? It was a dream to them and now it's their reality. Reflect on where you are. Where are you in that pyramid? Are you heading the right direction? Are you making the right choices to be able to make sure that you're meeting those needs? Are you truly connecting? Are you in the right positions where you're supposed to be in life? Remember, it is human to want to belong. It's human to want to be able to be validated, to want to feel appreciated. We have needs and expectations. Unless we reflect, unless we're prepared to take time to reflect on where we are and what's happening in our life and whether we're in the best place right now, we go through life and drift through life. Sometimes it's hit or miss. But if we are truly acknowledging where we are and acknowledging and nurturing our relationships, our friendships, paying attention to what we need to, addressing things that are not working, letting go of things that we need to, whether that's bad feelings, whether that's, our self-talk, managing that, whether that's relationships that have ran their course. We're motivated and driven and have a desire to fulfill and be the best version of ourselves. If you were to write a story about you being the best version of you, what would that look like? What would be in that story? What would that narrative be? Do you feel you're on the right path? Are you giving yourself the right narrative, the right story? Or would you be ripping it up and saying, I need to start over? Well, we don't need to start over. Sometimes we need to change the script, change our mind script, and change some of our behaviours and attitudes. Remember, our brain needs to be pointed in the right direction to be able to have the right thoughts. What we think affects how we feel, affects the actions we take. Meeting our needs is really important. Being able to develop those needs, to be able to be the best version of ourselves, we need to play a role and our part in that. Hope you found this episode interesting, and hopefully you'll be able to reflect on some of these points. It's all about growing and seeing our potential for growth and seeing where we need to grow, because every single one of us has a desire and need to be the best version of ourselves, don't we? Thanks for listening. This is Catherine Gallagher. This is CMG Talk, and it's been a pleasure to have you along on this journey today. Remember, if you want to reach out to me, it is stepupcmg@xln.co.uk. Always follow the CMG Talk so that you don't miss out on any episodes. And remember to like, share and download so that others can notice the episodes too, and so that the channels can see that you're enjoying them. Thanks again, and thanks for your support, and it's wonderful to see so many people joining and listening in. Thanks for joining this community and this channel. I really enjoy. And remember, if you do want to sign up and you want to join the www.facebook.com/Life Curator community, it's a community of people that want to have the best version of their life, that want to be able to have these tools ready to be available to them. Then join that group, sign up. It is free at the moment. I'm not charging just now because I want to make this available to as many people as possible. And you will find that there are lots of strategies and tools and lots of ways to be able to focus on being able to find ways to work on your mindset and to be able to find ways to manage when you feel anxiety, stress, low moods, or any other struggles that you might be facing. Thanks again. Take good care. Have a great weekend. I will catch up with you soon.